everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Today, Nanika and I are going to talk to you about how to use your time productively during this lockdown. I hope all of you are safe with your families at home, and we hope that this presentation can make your time even more productive. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Namita Mehta, and I'm the president of the Red Pen. I have been in the education space for over 12 years now. I did my undergrad and my postgrad at Oxford University. Before that, I was in a boarding school in the UK. And then I moved to India and have been, working in a school and then working at the Red Pens since then. I have never seen a time like this. I'm sure neither of you have. But I really do feel that there's a lot that we can do online, and we can continue working to help your child and help you find the best education fit. So, I hope you enjoy this presentation. I'll now let Nanika introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nanika, and I currently manage the early advising service line at the Red Pen. I have been with the company for over 4 years, where I have helped students build their profile as well as help them with their undergraduate applications. Prior to that, I myself studied in London, where I attended Cass Business School. During my high school years, I attended the JB Pettit High School for Girls, following which I did my IBDP program at the Bombay International School.
So before we get started, I'm just going to introduce you to the Red Pen. So the Red Pen is an independent education consulting company. Besides early advising, which is what we're going to be focusing on today, where we work with students and families from the 7th to the 11th grade and help them think about their educational journeys ahead. We also do undergrad admissions, postgrad admissions, MBA admission, and boarding and day school admissions. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see some of our, some statistics about us, some data about us. We have been around for over 8 years. And I think one of the noteworthy things about the Red Pen is that we have a global team of over 70 people. So many of our team members are actually located all over the world, and we do leverage their experience and the fact that they're close to universities, so that they know what's happening on the ground, and then they bring that back to the team, which we then use to service and help clients make the best decision possible. So let's get started today. The 3 topics that we're going to discuss today are profile building, standardized testing, and college research. We were going to send you a thorough email at the end of the session. Within a couple of hours, you should have that in your inbox. We will have detailed information about some of the service partners that we're going to talk about. And we're also going to have send you article links to help you understand more about our discussions. So please do open that email. Nanika is going to start off by profile building, and then I will talk about standardized testing, and then we'll discuss college research as well. And it doesn't matter whether you're in the 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, this is a process that you can start early. Now, when it comes to standardized testing, I'm sure many of you have questions. So we've actually organized a special webinar just for standardized testing so that we can bust some myths and talk about what test optional really means, and think about a strategy about how you can even prepare or think about these tests at a time like this as well. So that's going to happen next week. And we will send you details about that webinar as well. So let's get started. Nanika will start off by talking about profile building.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about profile building and how it is critical regardless of where you decide to apply eventually when you want to kind of study at the undergraduate degree. If you're looking at India, the US, or even if you're looking at any other country globally, it is critical that you continue to build on your profile in this time period despite the COVID-19 situation. There are various ways in which you can continue to build your profile online. I'm going to talk a little bit about the various ways in which you can do it, as well as what are the current opportunities available for you to kind of look at. So you can continue to build your profile by academically enriching your profile. So that's one of the ways in which you can kind of showcase academic rigor and add to your profile from that front. Another thing that you can do to use your time productively right now is take on supplementary online courses. I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of these points in the next couple slides. We're going to talk about skill enhancement. What are the skills that you can continue to build as well as enhance in this time period? What are the opportunities available for you to kind of add new skill sets to your plate? And how can you continue to develop your extracurricular profile, your 2-3 activities that you are focusing on? How can we plan to kind of take that forward? So there are various ways in which you can enrich your profile from an academic front. In the US, students typically study the American Diploma program and they take advanced placement exams as part of their course curricula. For students that study in India and are kind of looking at the ISC or the HSC that plan to take the Indian boards in the 11th and the 12th grade, we do recommend that they take on 3 to 4 advanced placement exams between the 10th and the 11th. They also have time to take a couple exams between the 11th and the 12th grade. Typically, these advanced placement exams only occur once a year in May. This year, they potentially will be occurring twice a year in May and potentially also November. The good news is that College Board has kind of conveyed that they will be continuing to hold the May testing online. So all those of you who have been preparing for the May test, please continue to do so. You will have the opportunity to give this test online. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the students that will take the Indian board, typically we recommend that they do the advanced placement exams. It is again no mandatory or not compulsory by any means, but it is recommended so that their curriculum can be a little bit more competitive and ensure that the applicant's application is competitive from an academic perspective as well. In some cases, students that are studying the IB or the A levels also go ahead and take the AP exams. If you're an IB student, one of the reasons why you would take an AP exam one of the reasons could be that you haven't had access to study that subject at your school. For example, your high school isn't offering that particular subject. Another reason can be to show rigor in a particular subject. So for example, if you want to study computer science at a later date at college, and at your IB program, you have only had the opportunity to take the physics, chemistry, and the math, which are the core subjects, and you focused on that. A good way to show your rigor in computer science and also your interest would be to take an AP in computer science. A-level students typically only study 3 subjects in depth. So again, if you want to keep more options open, so you can kind of choose what major you want to apply to at a later date, a good option would be to take 1 or 2 AP exams to add breadth to your subject mix. Another set of exams that students take away from the online advanced placement exams are the AMCs, the Olympiads, as well as the UKMT exam. The AMC and the UKMT are both math-based exams specifically that do require a substantial amount of time to prepare, especially the AMCs. If you plan to give the AMC 10 or the AMC 12, it typically requires 40 to 50 hours of preparation. These are competitive exams that students give when they're applying for competitive majors, such as a pure math, a pure physics, a pure chemistry, engineering majors, etc. So now is a good time to spend your time focusing on preparation for these exams, even though the next date for these exams to be taken are indefinite as of now. They will be held at some point. So getting yourself up to speed right now is makes sense and is a good way to spend your time. Another thing that you can do and that could add value to your profile as well as kind of give you insight into different subject areas is by taking supplementary online courses. So these supplementary online courses can either be niche and related to a particular topic within a subject. For example, Wesleyan University is offering an online course on social psychology. So again, that is a very niche topic area. If you would like to know a little bit more about something like that, then now is the time to take that course. Another reason and another kind of course that you could take are the basic courses, for example, the introduction to a computer science or an introduction to a psychology, which is offered by Yale University. A lot of these Ivy League universities actually have put out about 380 to 400 free online courses that you can look at, ranging from pure math to the social sciences to sciences to kind of skill set development as well. I will be sharing that link where you can access all of these courses in our summary email. So you should look at that after and you can kind of browse through the different courses that are available for free. For those students that are kind of making that transition from the Indian board to the international board, if you are moving from an ICSE to an IB curriculum, you can spend your time taking pre-IB or IB bridge courses that are offered in English, in math. There are also a couple bridge programs offered in theory of knowledge as well as extended essay, which are subjects that you will kind of study at the IB and you haven't had access or haven't been able to study them prior to the IB. Organizations such as Course Sleep to kind of assist with preparation for these bridge IB programs. So you could consider looking at their website to know a little bit more about this. In addition to that, university websites like Brown University does offer some of these programs that they list on their university website itself. So spend some time looking at the universities that you are currently passionate about or keen to apply to eventually. You can see what online programs they have. Then obviously you have your Coursera, your edX, your Udemy, and Skillshare, all of which also offer a plethora of courses for you to choose from. So here I'm just going to talk about a couple ways in which you can continue to take your extracurricular interests forward online from the comfort of your home. What are the activities that you can kind of consider spending your time on in this time that you have at home? So one of the ways in which you can spend your time is by helping a company with their digital marketing kind of campaigns. You can maybe help increase awareness of their brand through social media, through various blog posts, through other kind of Instagram, etc., etc. Content creation is always helpful. Whatever space you're looking at, you can always write a blog about a topic that you're kind of passionate about. That could be mental health crisis if you're interested in kind of that topic and you would like to help everyone at this point in time. A lot of people will kind of be suffering with mental health crisis. It is a good idea to write blog posts, etc., that you can share on your Instagram, or you can share with different organizations that already deal with mental health crisis. So you can focus on creating content. You can focus on working with a fashion brand, for example, and help them with designing or maybe even redesigning their websites that they currently have and make them more friendly, make them more interactive, and more yeah, that's something that you can do. For those of you who love music or art, please continue with kind of taking that interest forward. Organizations such as Artist 360 are helping students explore their creative side further by kind of introducing them to different art styles as well as different styles of painting. They even kind of, one of their interesting courses that I read about recently is teaching you how to paint like Da Vinci. So again, that's something that you can consider. And for those of you who would like to educate your household help at this point in time and are interested in the field of finance, now is a good time to make that call and kind of give them knowledge about the basic skills and the basic knowledge that they should have about finance. Um, so these are a couple of the things that you can do. Again, there are a lot of fundraising campaigns that are happening at this point in time because of the COVID-19 situation. Again, if there's a particular cause that you are passionate about, such as education, and you want to kind of give more students access to education through online learning, and you want to kind of create a fund to assist that, again, you can even again raise campaigns related to specific causes only. So now I'm going to move it on to Namita, who's going to talk a little bit about standardized testing and how you can use your time now to kind of get this piece of your application work done.
Hi, Nanika. I think we are not able to hear Namita right now. Can you please address this slide?
Yeah, I'm just going to check. Just going to continue to talk a little bit about standardized testing. So now is the correct time to kind of focus on standardized testing used
Can
for
you hear
those
me
of you who
now?
are in the 10th grade. And Namita, can we hear you? I don't think so. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to continue speaking about standardized testing. Yeah, so
Can you
between
hear
the
me
10th
now?
and the 11th, you do have, yeah, Darsh?
Nanika, can you hear me now, Nanika?
Yes, Namita, we can hear you.
Okay, so if you can go back a slide, I'll start again.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about it.
Can you go back a slide, please?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so I just want to talk to you all about test optional colleges. Many of you have just possibly heard that that colleges have now announced that they're test optional. Now, test optional means that they're not going to consider the SAT or the ACT in their application process at the moment. Now, many colleges have become test optional just for a couple of admission cycles. So that doesn't mean that the SAT or the ACT is going away. As you can see, these are the colleges that have recently made announcements on what on whether they're going to consider the SAT or the ACT or not. Now, it's important to note that many of them have only done this for a couple of admission cycles. So that does suggest that this test is not going to go away. So again, I just want to say that again, it's not, nothing is in our control. We don't know when test centers are going to open up. We don't know when you're going to be able to take these tests or whether an online version of the SAT or the ACT is going to be rolled out. But I do recommend that we do continue to prepare for them because these tests are definitely not going to go away. And this is a great time to do that. So what I suggest is that if you're in the 10th grade and because your boards are no longer happening, you should take a diagnostic test at this point in time. Think about preparing for the ACT or the SAT, depending on which test you're more comfortable with, and then perhaps enroll in a few online classes. Now, I just want to say that the ACT or the SAT is not only if you want to apply to the US. Several Indian colleges are also offering admissions and scholarships based on an SAT score and an ACT score. And in fact, if you do have an SAT or an ACT score, you will not need to give their entrance test. This is like Ashoka University, Kriya University. Instead of taking their entrance exams, you can give an SAT or an ACT score in lieu of that. So it's definitely worth considering and thinking about using this time that you do have now at home, preparing for these tests, so that when a center does open up or if they roll out an online version of this test, you will be prepared to take it. Like I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, we will be having a much longer detailed discussion on standardized testing next week, and we will send you details about that. But I just wanted to touch upon it, and of course, I also want to say that if you're in the 7th or the 8th grade, you don't need to worry about SAT or ACT right now. It is too early, and I'm pretty sure by the time you get into the 10th grade, there will be a lot more clarity on test optional colleges and which ones are accepting it. But if you do have the opportunity to take the test, I would really advise it because this extra data point on your application is only going to help you no matter where you apply. And even if you look at places like the UK or Singapore, you can actually submit an SAT or ACT score. They don't, though it might not be necessary for application. If you submit a score, they will look at it because they are aware of what these tests are. I will now let Nanika speak about college research.
Thank you, Namita. So obviously, in addition to kind of continuing to build your profile online as well as kind of preparing for the SAT or ACT test for all of you 10th graders, a lot of you may have planned to visit colleges this summer. And keeping in mind the current pandemic, there might be changes in your plans. However, there are ways in which you can continue to explore the colleges that you kind of plan to visit or that you want to know more about through various means. A lot of universities have very, very, very detailed information on their website, right? So, I mean, if you look at a university's website, you can access what are the majors that they offer. Not every university, for example, offers business as a major. So if you want to study that, it's important that you look at the website and understand and even check if that major is offered. Minors, what are the combination majors and minors that you could do together? Through the university's website, you also get a lot of information on detailed aspects such as the student clubs that they offer. I recently attended a webinar and learned that Rutgers University actually offers a sweet potato club, which is something that is very unique to that specific university. So taking a deep dive into their website will kind of help you and give you access and knowledge about all of this. Also, any online resources, opportunities that are available, you can even get a sense of that through the online websites. Another thing that you can do is attend webinars. A lot of these admissions officers typically do visit India. A lot of these admissions officers do visit India during the summer. However, this year they are unable to do so. So again, they are hosting a lot of these webinars that you can register for that give you information about the current situation, what action that particular university is taking to combat this, as well as give you access to any question and answers that you would like to take on during the webinar. Virtual tours is another way that you can again take on that tour that you plan to take in person, online. Universities such as Pomona College are allowing you to pre-register for these virtual tours. So again, that's a good way to get a sense of the different departments, the different buildings, the different centers that are at the university, what their dining hall looks like, what the campus feel is like. Again, giving you a very clear insight into that university. Another way in which you can continue to demonstrate your interest for those of you who plan to apply to a couple of these colleges at a later date is by connecting with admissions officers. So after attending these webinars or taking these tours, you typically get access to an email address of an admissions officer, typically the international admissions officer, and you can always reach out to him or her with specific emails asking any questions that you have after obviously you've done a deep dive into their website and ask questions only that already for which answers are not available online. And another thing that you can do that would make sense, and now that you have that time and a lot of alumni, a lot of university students are back, you can reach out to university students again to get a better understanding of the if they're studying a particular course. For example, if they're doing economics at a particular university, you would get a better sense of what that program is like, what are the different modules that you study, as well as cross kind of opportunities available, study abroad opportunities available from these alumni students. So connecting with them now is a good way to spend your time and continue to research these colleges that you eventually would like to apply to. We're now going to open it up to a Q&A session. So kind of please go ahead and put forward any questions that you have in the chat box, and we can address them right here.
Thank you, Nanika. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the first question. Somebody has asked, where can I take a pre-IB course? So Nanika, can you answer that, please?
Yes, so you can go ahead and take a pre-IB course with a lot of institutions. One of them that I've been in touch with lately is CourseLeap. They do provide a lot of these pre-IB courses that you can enroll for that are kind of taking place online over the summer.
Yes, we put this in our summary email, so you can have a look at that. Okay, so the next question is, how many online courses do you recommend my child complete? Nanika, do you want to answer that?
Yes. So obviously, keep in mind your time commitment. If you're a student in the 10th grade, you possibly will be busy with preparing for your standardized testing as well. So you might not have time to take on as many courses. Otherwise, I would encourage you to do 1 to 2 online courses in your areas of interest. They can be specific or they can be related to a subject area on the whole, obviously depending on your level of knowledge at this point in time. If you need a more beginner level course, or if you're looking for something more intermediate.
Yes, I'm just going to add to that. I think what ends up, I think when it comes to online courses, many students especially in the 7th and 8th grade, probably aren't used to doing online learning. So this is a way of also introducing them to that concept, and you can gauge. I mean, it's not like that there's a minimum number of classes that you need to take or courses that you need to take to kind of build this profile. I think what you should approach it another way. Enroll your child in one online class, see whether they like it or not, and then you can decide if you want to take more or not. Also see if they're able to gain information from that course, if they're engaged, if they're interested, because you'll be able to tell sooner rather than later. And even students who are moving up in 8th and 9th grade, similar situation. I'm sure you have work from school as well. You might be thinking about other tests, standardized test preparation. So don't overburden yourself, but this is certainly an opportunity because you have the time on your hands. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. How do you help 9th graders particularly, and what must we look forward to? And what must we exactly look forward to? Nanika, do you want to answer that?
Namita, can you repeat the question? It wasn't clear.
Sorry, the question is, how do you help 9th graders particularly, and what must we exactly look forward to?
So at the Red Pen, we typically offer a mentorship program for students in the 8th, 9th, and 10th, where we kind of handhold them through their entire educational journey from now right up until their undergraduate applications. We work with them on building their profile in various ways. We identify opportunities that make sense for them. We offer a series of workshops that help with their specific skill building that are offered by TRP as well as our external service partners. And we kind of just touch base with them on a monthly basis and make sure that they're on track in terms of their academics, extracurriculars, and other activities. We can talk a little bit more about that. Feel free to drop in an email, and I can specifically speak to you more about what our mentorship program has to offer.
Okay, extension to this question, what would you recommend specifically for a 9th grader? And I'm going to answer that. I think there is no cookie cutter model here, right? It's not like every 9th grader we recommend the same thing. I mean, that's kind of where we specialize based on your child's interests, what they like doing, the subjects that they enjoy studying, what they like to do in their free time, and what extracurriculars they're involved in. They can choose a variety of options. There's so much information out there, and you cannot just say that, okay, as a 9th grader, you must do these things. What I do think, though, is important is, of course, developing your academics in core subject areas. I mean, things like math and science and English, all of that is important. And if you are going to continue in the international curriculum, you will have to kind of take those subjects into the IB. So making sure that you're strong in those subjects is important. And one thing that I do recommend for any age group is obviously reading. This is a great time to pick up books, research, and look up information that you wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity.
Hi, Nanika. The next question would be, is there a course for artificial intelligence for 8th standard?
Yes, there is a course for artificial intelligence. As I mentioned in the presentation, Inspirit AI is actually doing a program on artificial intelligence over the summer. So that is one option that you can look at. A lot of these supplementary online programs that I spoke about also offer online courses in artificial intelligence. I'm going to share that link. You can access that. And lastly, Talorang, the organization I spoke for, also helps with giving students an understanding of artificial intelligence and also helps them with internships in that space.
The next question would be, what is the difference between SAT and ACT? How does one decide which one to take?
Okay, so typically, as we said, you do a diagnostic test in both the SAT as well as the ACT to kind of understand which testing style suits you better. And ACT has a little bit more of a science component. So for all of those students who are a little bit more passionate towards the sciences, typically prefer the ACT style. We will talk a lot more about this in our webinar next week, where we will address more questions and give you more insight on the differences between SAT, ACT, and how to navigate your pathway through that.
Then another question is, I am in grade 8. Do you think that this is advisable to learn a new language during this lockdown?
So you don't have to obviously learn a new language, and it isn't just like learning a language can be one way in which you can obviously add to your profile, but keep in mind that the student should be interested in studying that particular language. You don't need to add on to just studying a new language just for the heck of it, or just to kind of pass time. If a student has other 2-3 extracurricular activities that they are focusing on and already are studying 2 languages, then there's no necessity to take that 3rd language. However, if your child is passionate towards the languages and is keen on learning different languages, then yes, go ahead, why not?
Another question would be, should we prepare 9th grader for SAT from now, or wait till the 10th standard, or get a more clear picture?
Yes, please wait till the 10th standard. Now is really early. The 9th grade is early. Of course, you can take that PSAT or the diagnostic ACT at this point in time and get that component out of the way. But the preparation shouldn't start before the 10th grade. It's too early.
My child has entered 8th grade in IGCSE. What courses can you recommend for him?
So again, this is very student specific, depending on what courses your school is offering as well. That kind of differs school to school. We can obviously take this offline, but just keep in mind that there is a lot of emphasis from our end on core subjects. So I would recommend that if your child is in the 8th grade, obviously please go ahead, take all the sciences, take that math, and for any additional courses, again, it'll be child specific.
Are there any websites to apply for debates online?
I can look into that. I think a good opportunity would be to check out the Speech and Debate India website, and that should give you more information. I can also connect you to the owner of that organization, and maybe he should shed more light about any debates that you can enroll for or kind of go ahead with.
To switch from CBSE to IB, can you recommend an English course for my son to become IB compatible?
Yes, so there is an English speaking course. There's a transitionary English course that CourseLeap offers for students that are moving from the Indian board to the IB. It's called a bridge. It's the IB bridge program that is catered to English specifically. So you should go ahead and take that online.
Are APs mandatory?
No, APs are not mandatory by any means. Even for students that take on the Indian boards, as I mentioned, it is recommended, and you can add to it if you would like to enrich your profile from an academic perspective and look at maybe the top 20 to 25 schools only. APs definitely add value, but again, it's only one way in which you're adding value to your profile. Academics are one component. If you're kind of focusing more on your extracurricular activities and taking 2-3 of them forward and don't want to add more to your academic plate, or if you're doing the IB or A levels, there's no requirement at all to give those AP exams.
Are online webinars a form of demonstrated interest?
Yes, online webinars are definitely a form of demonstrated interest. Since these admissions officers can't visit India this year, it would kind of show a good amount of interest on your part if you attend their webinars and follow up with questions post that webinar. Obviously, ask questions that you have during the webinar, but at the end of the webinar, you typically have access to that email address that I mentioned earlier of the admissions officer that you can get in touch with and start showcasing your specific interest in that college.
I haven't been able to focus too much on my ECAs this summer. Will it hamper my college admissions?
So I mean, obviously admissions officers and everyone around the world is aware of the current pandemic. So of course it won't really negatively impact your application. They look at everything you've done in high school from grade 9 right up to grade 12. So it's not one specific time period or one specific year that could impact your application negatively. However, you should kind of spend this time productively to at least focus on 2 or 3 activities. It's okay if you haven't done something that is that you had planned to do earlier that was probably a little bit more elaborate, but just doing something will kind of benefit you, and that's something that you should go ahead and do. It won't affect you negatively if you haven't done as much as you had planned for earlier.
How many extracurriculars should I focus on?
So we typically recommend that students focus on 2 to 3 extracurricular activities only. Admissions officers from universities across the globe have shared with us that they are looking for students that are showing commitment and consistency in those few activities. So they're looking for depth in activities rather than breadth. So I would recommend that we stick to 2 or 3 at max and just focus on building those activities over a period of time.
Many schools are going test optional. Shall I still prepare for tests?
Yes, so I think we addressed this earlier in the webinar as well, but as we said, they're going test optional only for a few cycles. We don't know how long that will last. So yes, I would definitely, and that's again just a couple universities, not all of them. So to keep more options available, I would recommend that you go ahead and prepare for these standardized tests in your break.
My son is interested in marine biology. Can you guide me universities and courses that could be applicable for his further studies?
So a lot of universities do offer courses in marine biology. Obviously, we'll have to look at other aspects of the child as well. What are his other areas of interest? What are the courses specifically? Why is it marine biology? Before we kind of fixate into such a niche major, I would typically recommend doing something so niche at a postgraduate level and taking another course at the undergraduate level where you can take courses in marine biology. So yeah, I can take that call that question offline. You can specifically email me, and I can give you some options for what universities offer courses in marine biology.
I have been a national level chess player, but I haven't been able to participate in my competitions this year. Would this affect my application?
Sorry, Adarsh, can you repeat that question?
Is that fine?
No, Adarsh, I couldn't hear you.
The question is, I have been a national level chess player, but I haven't been able to participate in any competitions this summer.
Yes, that's completely fine. A lot of the competitions aren't taking place, and as I said, your involvement with the activity is looked at over a period of time. So this year, if you can't take part in as many competitions, that's completely fine. However, I would recommend that you take other initiatives with your interest with chess forward during this time period.
Is it a good idea to shift from ICSE 10th to IB?
Again, that's very child specific. It really depends on your future goals, what you're looking at, what kind of learning style suits you better. What are the subjects that you specifically want to focus on? Are you the kind of student that wants a more holistic mix of subjects and wants to keep options open for until a later date? Or would you like to kind of narrow in on a few subjects and take the A levels? Or would you kind of want to go ahead with the ISC or the HSC and make that shift to an international curricula later? All of this is very, very student specific. So it depends on the child's interests, goals, and the family's future plans as well.
Should my child consider India as an educational opportunity?
Should I consider?
Should my child consider India as an educational opportunity?
Yes, definitely. India has a whole host of opportunities that are kind of emerging right now. There are a whole bunch of liberal arts schools as well that are up and coming, and there will be so many more. That a lot of them are mimicking the same style of education that the US offers. So yes, I would definitely recommend India as a destination to consider strongly.
Are most summer programs going online?
So we've been in touch with a couple of officers at that kind of run summer programs. A lot of this is still up in the air. Some of the summer programs have been cancelled. Some are moving specific courses online, and some of them are still in the decision-making phase. So we're not sure and don't have accurate information for that as of now. We should just keep in touch with the university website as well as check in with the program head to just make sure that we have the most updated information for that.
I am in IB grade, So what courses do you recommend to improve on English and maths?
You're in the IB.
Yes,
Did you say
I'm
that?
in the IB grade. What courses do you recommend to improve my English and maths?
So it depends on what area you're struggling with for an English or a math. Of course, based on the area that you're struggling with, in math, is there any specific topic? Then obviously you can take a supplementary online course in that specific topic. Or I would recommend more resources to practice those areas where you're kind of weak and lacking in that subject. So no specific generic recommendation there. It would be more specific depending on what you're struggling with in those subjects.
What are the subjects of AP?
What are the subjects of advanced placement exams?
Yes.
So advanced placement exams are offered in various subjects. You have some that are broken down for a subject, such as in math, you have statistics as well as calculus, both of which have 2 levels. There's AB as well as BC. So that's very specific. And then you also have APs in other subject areas like psychology, like computer science, world literature, a lot of other subjects as well. They have a whole array of subjects that you can look at online.
Do Trinity exams help for profile building?
So again, Trinity exams are great. If you're giving them in a particular instrument or subject, that's great. Please go ahead. You can do that. But what universities and admissions officers look for more than these examinations are your performances. So I would recommend that you focus on performances and showcasing your talent or interest in other ways besides just giving the examinations. And if
How
you're
can the
giving the
red pen
examination solely from the perspective of being a more competitive applicant, then you should just rethink your decision to do that, because your interest can be shown in other ways as well. You don't need to be adding examinations to your list of activities.
How can the red pen help me in building my profile in this coronavirus situation?
So the red pen can help you in developing your profile. Again, we are happy to take on one-on-one sessions with you or answer any specific questions that you have related to your child over email. As we mentioned earlier, with our mentorship program, we help you with every aspect of your profile from the 8th grade onward, right up till your application period.
Can you recommend me some courses for art?
So for art, there's Artist 360, which is an organization that offers a whole host of art-based courses. They are going online again, so they have options for string painting as well as for different other styles of painting, such as I mentioned, the Da Vinci style of painting, a lot of different sketching techniques, etc. So Artist 360 is a good option for you to kind of look at to take your art interest forward.
Are there any music related courses online that you would know of?
Music related courses, I haven't had the chance to kind of hear of any music related courses that are going online yet, but I'm happy to address it. If you can send me a specific email, I can look into it and get back to you on that.
Is there a college for AI in India?
There are universities, etc., that provide artificial intelligence as a program, but not specifically a college for artificial intelligence only. That can be done as a course, or it can be done as an extracurricular activity simultaneously while you're focusing on another major.
Any recommendation for reading articles other than Nat Geo and New York Times, etc.?
So there are a lot of articles presented to you online on different topics. Again, I would recommend that you do a deep dive into the topic that you're interested in and read articles related to that, whatever you find interesting. There's no specific list of articles that you should be reading. It's again very child specific and very interest specific.
I'm a grade 8 student and I have difficulties in the sciences, namely biology and chemistry. Are there any courses online to help me improve on the same?
biology and chemistry, yes, there are a lot of specific courses that you can do to understand these subject areas better. I will be sending that link that you can access, and any particular topics within these subject areas that you're struggling with, you can look at. Another thing, just to kind of add on to the earlier question that where you asked me about reading, one of the options that I just thought of was Scientific American. That's what you can look at for options for reading. I will send that in our summary email as well.
Thank you, Nanika. We have reached the end of the questions. Is there any other questions that we can answer for the attendees? Please feel to drop us in the chat section. Here's another question for you, Nanika. How do I narrow down the list of colleges that I do research on?
So narrow down the list of colleges, I would say there are a couple factors that you can look at. Number one could be location. If location is important to you and you are basing a lot of your decisions based on the location, then obviously that is a factor to consider. Another factor to consider is the major that you're interested in. You need to check if that university is offering that specific major. Again, class sizes. What are the class sizes that you're looking for? Are you looking for bigger classes? Are you looking for a more lecture-based style of learning, or do you prefer smaller classes and learn better in that environment? Are you looking for a private or a public university? A lot of the public universities usually are bigger in size. So again, keeping that in mind. Are you looking for more of a city feel or not so much? That's another factor to keep in mind. Other opportunities, research opportunities available, specific resources and facilities that the university offers. These are all factors on which you can start narrowing down your colleges. Obviously, once you have your SAT score and have a better sense of your grades closer to time when you are applying, you'll be in a better position to consider the academic perspective when narrowing down these colleges. Any other questions, Adarsh? Anything else that we can answer?
No, we haven't been receiving any questions yet.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining our webinar. We will be sending you an email with couple article links that you can start reading. We will also give you be sending across an article with options for you to consider that even highlight and link the different organizations that I spoke about during our presentation. So please feel free to go through that. If you have any questions specifically that I can answer for you, please feel free to email me and we can take it from there. Yeah, thank you everyone for attending. Take care and stay safe.